We're going to be starting with creating a new form. Now, the way I've set up this document, if you are to click on any of the labels there, for example, set up new, a new form. That's wrong. Set up a new form. If you click on that, you'll see a little menu or pop-up appear. That will actually take you to the Google Help article that describes how to perform that task. All right. You'll notice also a little plus symbol beside that link, and that is a template that I've created. That way, whenever we practice this, we'll have something in front of us to work on. Okay, so having said that, let's go ahead and get started with the first item there, which is setting up a new form. So let's all go ahead and click just before that little plus icon. You'll see it says Google Forms Sign In. That actually directs us to form.new, which is a shortcut to a blank form. All right? Setting up a form is quite easy. Anytime you type in form.new, it will result in a new form right in front of you. That is also true of docs, sheets, or slides. Just type in slides.new or forms.new, and it takes you right there. This prevents you from having to do too many clicks. All right, it gets you right into the document. All right, so likely the first thing that you'll want to do once you have a form created, or beginning with form rather, is to go ahead and title it. And so the way we do that is just by clicking in the upper left-hand corner there where it says Untitled Form, and then you just give it a name. And I'll just type in my first form, just like so. Okay? And then if you click inside that top option, that area, it will actually take whatever has been entered there in your form title, and it will place it here as well. Now you'll notice there is a folder there beside the title, the file. This is going to allow you to actually move it while we're working on it, okay, or actually before we've worked on it. So if you click that, see what's going to show is your contents of your Google Drive. And so this allows you to go ahead and place it in the folder you want it to be as you continue to work on it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that just prevents you from creating something and it sitting right there on your drive all by itself. This actually puts it in a location for you. Okay? But it'll still be in front of you so you can work on it.
So
all right?
We can create a new folder.
That's right. You can see that little new folder icon right there. So if you wanted to do that, you can. Just wanted you to be aware of that. Okay? All right. Probably the next thing that you'll want to do is to start messing with the form theme. All right? So what we're talking about there are the colors. All right? And so if you look towards the top of the form on the right, you're going to see a series of icons. All right? This second one here says Customize Theme. If you click on that, you're going to get some theme options. Okay? All right, there we go. All right, so you can choose any of these theme colors or add a custom color. The way we do that is just by clicking the plus symbol, and then you basically just dial it in. Okay? Drag your slider here. So if I wanted to go for some Alcoa colors, I drag that like that. And then zero in on it right here. See? And then I click Add. See what it does? All right. And if you wanted to bring in a picture to serve as your header, you can always do that by clicking this option here, Choose Image. All right. You also have a few options in terms of what your background color is going to look like, as well as your font style. Okay. I'd stay away from decorative just because it might be a little hard to read depending on what device. Yeah, it would. Okay. And a lot of these are created, well, all of these that we see in front of us here, these are Google generated. So these are all going to look good. If you wanted to upload your own, this is where you go. You just click on the Photos tab right here, and then you'll be able to use any one that you have. Okay? All right. I'm going to close out of this template here and come back to our original document. All right, so we've gone over the first two, creating a new form, just talked about adjusting the theme. Now choosing form questions. All right, let's click on the plus symbol beside that. All right, and this will force us to make a copy. All right, choose make a copy. All right, so I've already built a Google form, and you can see the different types of questions that we have here. This is to just serve as an example of what you can do with it. All right, and as you can see, that first one is multiple choice, and just so you know, if you're working with forms, if you want to rearrange things, you'll see where my cursor is right now. You see those little dots there? Whenever you put your cursor over the dots, think of that as a handle, all right, as a way for you to carry or move the objects. So if I said, what is your favorite color? If I wanted to move that, watch what happens if I put my cursor on those dots. I click and drag, it's going to allow me to move it. See if you can move that on your own. And just move it underneath another one. See how that works? That's how we rearrange our questions. Okay? Now notice also here for that first question, what is your favorite color? If you click inside there, you'll notice next to the question you have this little icon, which is a picture, an image file that you could upload. All right? You simply click it and then you can upload the image, or if it's something in your drive, you can insert that, or from here you can do a quick Google image search. Okay? This could easily be something that you had written or drawn on paper that you had taken a photo of or out of a book and quickly upload it here for reference. Okay? You'll notice those little handles also appear by the answer choices. Do you see those? So if I wanted to rearrange these, you click and you drag, and then you can rearrange them. See that? All right, down at the bottom here, you can toggle the option here to have it required or not required. It's going to be up to you. All right, just scrolling down, you can see some of the other different types of questions here that we have. All right, this is a linear scale. And the way you change the type of question is to just, of course, click on the question, and over on the right is where you choose the options. Okay? You have to go ahead and first click on the question. There you go. And then on the right, you see where it says there's a little pull-down menu there.
Oh, right here.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
I know about that.
Yeah.
So going back to that inserting an image, you said if I'd taken like a picture or cutting, that would be like a cut and paste a math equation, since they're hard to.
Yeah, that would be a,
Right.
yeah.
Just cut and paste and then upload it into the question.
Yeah, you need to take that, whatever you've drawn, and get an image of that.
Okay.
All right, and then once you have the image on your computer, then you can upload it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. You can even insert videos into your question. Here's an example here. And if you ever want to get a look or feel for what your video is going to, or your quiz is going to look like, to preview it, on your toolbar up at the top here, this little eyeball icon, that'll give you a glimpse of what it will look like when your users take it. So if I click that, preview, you can see here it is. That's what it's going to look like. And we've even embedded a video here to it. So you could have the students watch the video and then answer the question. This would be probably best if they had on headphones. It'd be a little noisy here. Y'all ever seen this? Glenn, you ever seen this one? You remember these guys, the Sonic guys?
Yeah, they're still on.
The older ones are better. This is...
Yeah, that's great.
It is good.
I wonder why T?
What do you mean?
I mean, of all the letters you could pick from, why T? Why not Raspberry Iced M or any of the other like 48 letters?
First of all,
That's way too many letters.
And I know how many letters there are in the alphabet.
May I sub-respond before you finish?
Sure.
Do you?
Tropical mango tea. New at Sonic.
M. Okay, and then if you scroll down some more, you can also see an example where we have attached images to the answer choices. See that? Okay? So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea of the sort of things that you can do with forms and the type of forms that you can create. All right, I'm going to close out of this one now, and I'll come back to my document, create a quiz. All right, let's click on the plus symbol beside that. All right, and then click on that link. We'll make a copy. Pull up here. All right, here we are. So as it stands right now, this is a form, not a quiz. There aren't any points assigned to our answer choices. To turn something into a quiz, what you're going to do is you're going to click on the gear. So just to the left of that send button on the top there, you see the little gear icon. That's your settings. All right? And if we click on that, you'll see we have basically three sections: general, presentation, and then quizzes. Right? You'll notice there's this option here, make this a quiz. If we turn that on, then we'll be able to have it graded once we apply points to it. Okay? You'll also notice this option, locked mode on Chromebooks. Right? I actually just had a teacher ask me about this today. So what this will do is it will throw the Chromebooks into what's called kiosk mode. So when they launch the quiz, that's the only thing they can get to. And they can't get out of it until they finish or submit the quiz. Now that's useful because it prevents them from opening other things up or answers.
So you can just turn it on.
Right, all you have to do is turn it on. But the key is you have to be using managed Chromebooks. Managed Chromebooks are the Chromebooks we have here in our district that are managed. Okay, so this would work.
So not, well, we don't have any middle school that bring their own, but if they brought their own laptop.
That would not work.
Gotcha.
Right, they would have to be managed by us. Okay? All right, so that's where you set your, you want to go ahead and save it, of course. And then we can also come back here. And these other things here, I just want you to take note of. In the general, you can choose to collect the email addresses. Make sure you do that if you're not asking for their name. Otherwise, you won't know who's taking your quiz.
Okay, now, it says when I went on general that these settings are turned off because locked mode is on.
Yeah.
So you need to turn it on after you've done. Now it went gray.
What does it say exactly?
So these settings are turned off because locked mode is on, and my choices are gray.
Okay, the student will automatically log into the Chromebook, so there'll be a record of who's doing it.
Okay.
I think that's why it's disabling that option there. Okay. You can also set a limit on responses here. So in other words, if you don't want them to try taking it more than once, you can limit that, right? Presentation, that's going to determine how they see it. So if you have kids, if it's a longer quiz, some kids get a little anxious if they don't know how much longer. You could choose to have the progress bar appear. Also, you could have the questions shuffled, which could be useful in terms of cheating. So, you know, Johnny looks over at Susie's number 2. Oh, I'm going to choose that. Only she has a different number 2, right? So that's a good option there. And then you can also craft a custom response for whenever they finish the quiz. Like, great job. Now get busy doing something else if you want to. All right, so that can be customized right here. Okay? All right. Let me cancel out of that. All right. Next, let's take a look at form sections. All right, let me close out of this quiz back here. I've created a simple questionnaire already, and you can see it displayed here. In it, I have a total of 5 different sections. All right. The first section basically just gives instructions that I want my participants to read, and then from there we go into specific questions. All right. Now, how you create a section is actually very simple, and I've found that if you've already created sections and want to add another new section, maybe you want it to appear at the very end of your survey, the way to do that is to just click inside the last item that you've created in your form, and then click the Add Section option. Alright, so again, click in your last content area that you've created and then choose to add a new section. Here we are. Alright, and you can give it a title. Now, in order to get rid of a section, you're going to click the dot menu here on the section, and notice the options: duplicate, move, delete, or merge with the above. Alright, I just want to delete this, so I will choose that option there, and it's gone. Alright, now you'll notice in these sections you can see the question that I've attached to it. We're able to actually see the answer choices if we expand our section, and the way we do that is to look for this little icon right here. This will expand or collapse the content of a given section. So notice what will happen if I click there. You can see our answer choices for that particular question. Alright, again, I can collapse this section content and we don't see it. Alright, same thing with my third section. I want to expand it so I can see all the content inside this section. There it is. Alright. It might seem a little confusing at first. I would assume, just because of the way this button is designed, that this would actually allow you to move the section up or down. It doesn't. Alright, so just you have to remember that. To move a section, let's say this last one here, breakfast, well, it appears at the very end of my questionnaire, and I want that to go at the top. How we move that up is to just click on the dot menu, and then we'll select merge with above. Oh, nope, don't want to do that. Click undo. So you do have a level of undo. Wanted you all to be aware of that. Alright, so let's choose the right option this time. Click the three dot menu, and we're going to say move section. Alright, so it's going to list all of our sections here, and so breakfast, we want to move that right above lunch. There we go. Then we'll save it. Okay, now we're set. Okay, so in section 2, you can see that I'm asking them what their favorite meal of the day is. Now, based on their selection, I want them to be taken to a specific section. Here's how we achieve that. Alright, I'll click on the question. In the lower right hand corner, you'll see 3 dots. Choose that, and then select Go to Section based on answer. Alright, so if they choose breakfast, we want to continue to section 3. Alright, if they chose lunch, we'll go to section 4. If they chose dinner, we'll choose section 5. As for these other sections, we don't want them to go then to the lunch questions after they've finished breakfast. We want them to just be finished with this survey. So where it says after section 3, what do we want to have happen? We will say submit the form. Alright, we'll do the same thing for section 4, submit the form, and the same thing for section 5. You'll notice that's not an option there, because when you're at the end of the form, it automatically puts the submit button there for you. You don't have to tell it to do so. Alright, so this is looking the way I think we need it to. Alright, so at this point, let's preview it and see how this is all going to work. Alright, so I'll click on my preview button here. Alright, you can see this is actually section 1, where it gives a description or instructions, whatever you want to put in there. We'll click next. All right, what is your favorite meal of the day? I'm going to say dinner. All right, so I'll choose that. And then when I click next, you see it takes me to the dinner question. All right, and I'll say tacos. And then submit. And it's done. All right, let's see once more how this works. I'll go to submit another form. Takes me to the very beginning. Next, let's say my favorite meal now is breakfast. I'll choose that. Next. All right, what is your favorite main dish? Oh, I'll say pancakes. Submit. And we're done. Let's come back. Sending forms. All right, so once you've got your form created, how do you get it to people? All right. A few options here. All right, I'm going to start with a brand new form. Let's say it's all done, it's ready to go. I want to distribute it now. Well, look at the send button right over here in the top right hand corner. Go ahead and click that, and you can see that we have the option to send it via email. All right, you just simply address it here. And you can address this to groups if you wanted to. So if I wanted to send this out to all of Alcoa City, see, it'll pull all that as well. So you don't have to just send it to one person at a time. And you also have this option down here, include the form in the email. This is going to allow them to take the form inside of Gmail or whatever their email client is. This prevents them from having to open up a link and then create or finish the form. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? So if we choose this option, it sends an email to them. They get the email, and inside the message of the email is this form. See? If we choose this option here.
What if we're wanting it?
Okay. If you're just wanting to send a link to someone, you click that link right there.
In our Google Classroom.
Oh, well, you could do it this way, or you could be inside a classroom and then just go to add it and then just click on the form.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another way to do it. All right, and then you also have the embed option there, which I'll say more about here shortly. Okay. If you do want to collect everybody's email address or make this so that nobody from outside of our organization can take this, choose this option here. Okay. All right, so that's sending your forms. All right, let's talk about modifying our form settings. We don't have to start a new one there, but we actually did look at this earlier. I don't think we need to really revisit this at all. Rather, let's go ahead and look at what it's like to get a collaborator. The way we do that are three dots over here on the right. If you click that, you can see that you can add collaborators. So this is giving somebody you're sharing edit access with the form with somebody else. All right. You also have the option here to print it. Okay. And it actually does a really nice job of rendering out the questions on paper. I don't encourage that because this is all about creating a paperless environment, but you know, if you did need a hard copy as the instructor and wanted to keep it there with you, this print option does a good job. Okay? This option right here, get pre-filled link, any idea what that is or why it would be useful potentially? Glenn, you ever use that? The pre-filled link? So let's say you want to send out a form to everybody in the district and you want to break it down by grade level. You could actually have, based on where you're sending it to, some of the questions already answered. So if I wanted to send this out just to the middle school, they would get it, and then when the results come in, that's an option. It would look like they set it, but it's already done for them. All right, so I'm trying to think of another example or a way to explain this a little bit better.
If you were doing your one with the sophomores and the freshmen, you could select freshman and then just send it out to the freshmen?
Right, and then the results, the answers come back with that already selected.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
so it's kind of like answering it for them.
Pretty much, yeah.
So
Yeah.
there wouldn't be dead okay and like seniors from the.
Yeah, well, they're actually freshmen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we would never have that happen.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's see, where are we next? Form settings, form responses. All right, let's look at viewing form responses here, all right? So when somebody takes your form, your responses are going to come over here on the right. And you're going to probably see, actually I clicked on the wrong one there. You're going to see in front of you a graphic representing what responses would look like. All right, this I think is an animated GIF. So you can view them directly in Forms, or if you choose the option to have the spreadsheet created, you can do that as well. That way they'll filter right into Google Sheets, and then from there you can do a variety of things with them. I actually use the form notification option in Sheets, so whenever somebody submits a form, I'll know exactly when that comes in. All right? It's under actually the Tools menu. So practically speaking, in a form, you're going to see your answers right here. See under Responses. Or if you want to review those responses in Sheets, you have the option right here. This will create a brand new spreadsheet where all of your answers will be stored and kept. Okay? All right, another thing you can do with Google Forms is to have people submit image files or other types of documents to you. All right? That's in the attachment submissions. Let's go ahead and click on that so you can see what it looks like. There's some error you'll probably encounter after you make a copy. Because what happens whenever you enable this feature, it basically creates a folder inside your Google Drive. So whenever they choose a file to upload via the form, it'll put it right there for you. All right, so we can just cancel out of this. And you can see what that option actually looks like. So if you choose the file upload option, in other words, you're asking somebody who's taking the form to upload a file. This could be, hey, a photo, a document, whatever. All right, this is what it's going to look like. All right, and you can specify here the type of documents that can be accepted. All right, you also have some other options here, the number of files that they can submit, the maximum file size. All right. All right. You might find a use for that at some point. All right. Reusing questions. This is a handy feature. Let's click on it. So if you've been using forms for some time and have created different forms or quizzes, and you want to use some of those questions you've already created, you don't have to retype them. You can just reuse them. The way we do that, over on the right-hand side here, you see the option to import questions. You see that? If I click that, that's going to take me to my drive, and it'll pull up all of the forms that I've created in the past. And all I need to do is find the one that I want to use. All right. Click Select. If I want to bring in all of them, I choose that top option, or I can just select them one or individually. All right, and then it'll automatically bring in the questions and the answer choices for me. All right, that'll save you some time. All right, importing the questions, that's what we did. All right. Okay, form rules. What are we talking about? Let's click on that plus symbol beside form rules. Let's make a copy. Basically, this is telling the person who's taking your form, I want the data coming to me in a certain way. All right? And you can see here what we've done. I've set a rule for this question, a paragraph question. I've said I want the length to meet a minimum character count of 300. So if they try to submit this without meeting that requirement, it'll prompt them to do it again. All right? Down here, we've actually used, and this is where it gets a little more complicated. You can use what's called regular expressions. In this case, I found a website that had examples of these that would require the user to type in their social security. So it would be 3 numbers, a dash, 2 numbers, a dash, and then 3 more numbers. Unless they did that, it's going to come back. We'll have to keep it up until they get the format correctly. Okay? So if you create a new question, let me show you what this looks like. I'll hit the Add Question button here. All right, and where it says our question type, I'll just say short answer. And if I scroll down, over here on the right, you'll see where it says response validation. Now this is where it gets interesting. You can say the number has to be greater or is between. So their answer has to meet this condition in order for it to be accepted. All right? Text contains, this is great for collecting websites, email addresses. All right, you could even say it doesn't contain something. All right? Length, this is where I did that one up there. I said maximum character count or minimum character count. And you couldn't do words. Well, would it count? I don't know how it would do words because you have some words that are only 1 letter. So I just did characters. I did the average and then how long the average word would be, and then I multiplied that to get my characters, and I said, okay, that might be how you want to do it. All right, so that's what the data validation is, and response validation. All right, and I did put a link up here to where if you were interested in getting some of those regular expressions, you could get it. They're a little complicated, but might be worth your time to check it out. Okay, embedding a form on a website, that is super easy. Let me show you how to do that real quick. So in this case, I've got the announcement form that my teachers use to submit announcement in the morning. And if I wanted to embed this quiz or form on my website, what I would do is I would click send, and then I would grab the embed code. Here it is. All right. And if I wanted to tweak this a little bit, I could. I'll simply choose copy. Okay. And then if I come back to my my website, this is going to be my personal page. All right. I have the option to, let me go ahead and choose the content option. Then on my toolbar, I'm looking for the code, source code. Now I've already got that copied, right? So I'll just paste it in. And when I click save, there's my form. All right, then I would click publish, and then it goes live. So this is what it looks like live on our website. This is what a visitor would see. See? I just copied and pasted the embed code. All right. And I have a video, because there are a couple steps there, that's linked here. That'll walk you through that process. Okay? Import grades from forms directly to Classroom. This is very useful and a great time saver. Now I want you to watch how this is done. Okay? And this was done. I did this earlier and pre-recorded it. before you can start auto-importing grades to Google Classroom, a couple things you need to do on the back end in Google Forms. For starters, go to your form settings, and under quizzes, take notice of locked mode on Chromebooks. If you want the quizzes locked, be sure that is checked. And then also under release grade, make sure that the grades will be released later, so that second option there is selected. This will give you a chance to review them before they're turned back to the student. All right, so in Google Classroom, we're going to go to the classwork section, and from here, click the Create button, and then choose Assignment. All right, in this case, I will go ahead and title it. I'll call this Chapter 1 Test. I'm not going to add any instructions, and then I'll actually add the form that I just created. It's located in Google Drive. Here it is, Chapter 1 Test. Click Add, and you can see it's displayed. Make sure that grade importing is turned to on, that little slider there. All right, additionally, grade category, we'll set that to tests. And then the topic, I'll set this to Chapter 1. All right, yours will be different. Next, we click the Assign button right here. Okay, and we're all set. We're back in Google Classroom now, and we've clicked the assignment. Here it is. The results are starting to come back in. Now all of my students have taken the test. So at this point, I want to automatically import the grades. We'll click Import Grades. All right, click Import. It'll automatically bring the grades in for me. You can see they're appearing there on the left. We'll check all those that have been turned in, and then we'll return them by clicking the Return button and then Return once again. Now the students will be able to see their scores, and as far as we're concerned, this is finished. All right, and if you go over to the Gradebook section of Google Classroom, you'll notice that all the grades for this test are all listed there. Classroom and returning it
So
it
they
to
can
them.
see it.
Yeah, it's an automated process. Yeah,
You
so
don't
whenever.
have to wait till everybody's taking it, do you? Because you've got.
No,
the
no, no, no.
others that
No,
are
you don't.
actually
You could
on.
choose import grades, and then when others have
Add
taken
it.
it, just click import grades again. Yeah, and then it'll bring it in.
And then that returns, lets them
But they're-
see what they made.
But their grades don't go back to them before that? Before you import it? When you take a forms or?
Well, there's options there whether or not they can actually see their grades. And you can choose whether or not you want those grades to be seen. Now, you will let them be seen whenever you return them to them.
Because some you've got to grade yourself.
That's right. That's right.
So you don't
Yeah.
want them to see what they got
Mhm.
on the automatic grade until you can go over it and do the short answer or whatever.
This
grade
won't
you
work
have to do.
with every type of quiz, especially for those where you've had a lot of fill-in-the-blank type questions. You will have to review those manually one at a time. Yeah, but for simple multiple choice quizzes like that, this works really, really well. And then it feeds directly into the gradebook. And if we had the Skyward
That's where I was thinking.
syncing, this would really be
That's
That
seamless.
was my next question, is
Yes.
why, I mean, you
Is
still have
that
to get it
something-
in the Skyward.
That's right, and we're on the list
We're on the list.
for that automatic syncing. So,
And that's hard to-
when- oh, I know, to have to do that
Yeah.
manually, right? And there's a lot of repetition, and it's redundant,
Uh-huh.
right? You don't want to have to do it in two places.
Like I said,
So there is syncing now. It just hasn't hit us.
Yeah.
All right, and what it'll amount to is just a button that says sync. So it takes your Google Classroom gradebook and it syncs it with
So what
Skyward.
you should be doing now is trying to do a few of these, so you're ahead of the curve, so when we do start syncing, you're already
So
ready
is
to
that
go.
like something that is coming sometime?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's
before
in
I
beta
retire?
right now.
Mhm.
We're on the list to be a beta site, so,
It was
So
what
anything you would,
Before I retire,
oh, yeah.
if I had to guess, I'd say within the next month or so.
Oh, yeah.
We got an email. What was it, Emily? About a month ago, something like that. Yeah, from Google saying they were reviewing something and working to
you can choose
get
which
us.
one you sync and not sync.
We will be demoing the Choice Eliminator 2 Google Forms plugin. Let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, we have a form already set up. It is a t-shirt pre-order form. And what we'd like to see happen is for visitors take this survey and have choices eliminated. So in other words, let's say in this scenario, you only have 10 extra small shirts available. Well, we want forms to keep a record of each time somebody chooses that. So when there aren't any more extra small shirts left, it is discontinued as an option in this form. In other words, people won't see it to pick. All right, so here's how we set this up. We already have the Choice Eliminator 2 plugin installed. Here it is. I'll click on the icon and then select Choice Eliminator 2. All right, at this point, click Configure. All right, you'll see a note from the author. You can go ahead and close out of that. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to set a value for each of the options here. Okay, so we'll click here and then check the box that says Eliminate Choices. So it's going to create this scenario for us whereby some of the options won't appear after a certain threshold has been reached. All right, so to set that number, simply click the Choice Options icon here. So extra small, we're going to say we only have, let's say we only have 5 of these. We have 10 in everything else except for XXL. In that case, we only have 5 as well. All right. If everything is set, you can go ahead and close out of this and close out once more. All right. Okay, it's ready to go. Let's go ahead and preview this form. All right, they're going to choose extra small and submit it. Okay, I'll submit another response here. All right, one more time here. I'll submit that. Now it shouldn't be an option anymore when I see the form again. See? Extra small is gone because we've reached that threshold of 5. That is going to do it for today. I went 5 minutes over. Appreciate everybody coming. Make sure you sign the sign-in form over there. Oh, and I should tell you, I've actually added 2 more sessions. We are doing one on Canva. I don't know if you've ever heard of Canva. It's a online, not cannabis. It's a online publishing application. All right. And then what was the other one? We can go to our, go to my calendar. 2 new sessions.
So I just installed Choice Eliminator 2.
Yeah, are you having any luck there?
It works.
Oh, does it for you?
Yeah, it has a configure little window that pops up.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I got Canva on April 13th and then teaching with iPads on May 11th. That's another one. All right, so that's it. You all are free to go
Well, thank
if you
you.
like. Thank you for coming.